How we'll adapt in the future remains to be seen. The most technical and demanding shoots for the Human Planet Oceans program were those that took place underwater. The dive camera crew were well prepared to film fishermen in the Philippines, but they weren't quite prepared for the dangers they'd witness and the friendships they'd forge. Liminangkong is home to the 80 Pa-aling fishermen that the film crew will follow.
Ito po si Simon, tapos ito po si Roger. Sila po yung sa ilalim ng tubig. So, sasabayan nila kayo. Sasabayan nila kayo sa ilalim. Sila yung may dala ng camera sa ilalim ng tubig.
2 fishing boats are crammed with 80 divers, their food and provisions before heading out for 2 weeks at sea. At the fishing grounds, Simon and Roger are playing catch-up as their technical underwater equipment is slowing them down.
They've just dropped the lines and didn't even tell us. The captain seems to be on a real mission to prove something today, so we've got to go fast.
Underwater filming is risky, but these risks are nothing compared to those faced daily by the compressor divers. Compressor diving is a dangerous way to make a living. Air, often tainted with diesel, is pumped through thin plastic tubes right down to the divers. At 64, Joning is one of the veterans on the boat and knows the harsh realities of compressor diving.
Dahil ako sa compressor, 30 years na ako ng compressor. Ngayon, yung mula sa dagat, umidad pa lang ako ng 15, yun ang talagang hanap ko yung dagat.
Most of the divers are young and fit, and they need to be. It's physically demanding work, and the men are totally reliant on the compressor to keep them breathing.
Pag yung compressor, pag mahina naman yung hangin, mahina ang bigay ng makina ang ikot, mahina doon sa ilalim, masakit ang dibdib natin na paghinga.
To use basically what was essentially a garden hose down at 25 meters to pump air into your mouth is just mad.
The biggest danger for these fishermen is known as decompression sickness, or the bends. The bends can happen when divers have been down deep for a long time and then come up too quickly to the surface. Nitrogen is absorbed into the body, and as the divers rise up, bubbles are formed that can lodge in the joints, causing intense pain. 2 guys are in real trouble on this deep dive. Martin, a young diver, is in such pain that his friend tries to relieve it by massaging him. Once on the surface, it's obvious to everyone that Martin is still in trouble. If not treated, the bends can lead to permanent injuries and even death. Meanwhile, the second diver, Michael, is also having problems.
It seems like 2 men just came up with the bends. They went pretty deep on this dive, trying to get more fish, but we've taken them onto our boat to get some medical attention, so hopefully they're all right.
Change one over.
Simon tries to relieve their symptoms with the crew's first aid supplies.
One more set, piece of set. Michael's had 15 minutes on oxygen. Now put Martin back onto another set of 15 minutes. And this is the rudimentary decompression first aid that we can give them at the moment. Give them oxygen, give them water to rehydrate, keep them warm. Both of them are saying that their symptoms are decreasing, and they're looking a lot more happier than they did about half an hour ago.
He gives them oxygen, which helps reduce the nitrogen in their bodies and relieves their pain. But even this most basic of diving first aid is not normally available to the Pa-aling fishermen. This isn't surprising, as the fishermen in the Philippines belong to the lowest wage earners in the country, earning about $25 for a week's work. However, for many like Johnny and his family, this is their whole way of life.
Tatlo yun nandito, pati yung ako. Mag-ingat, hindi yung basta-basta pupunta sa taas. Yung isa kong anak, sumisid yun ng 36, di pa, 36. 4 na oras siya doon sa ilalim. Pagbalik niya doon, natanggal niya. Bago pagbalik niya sa taas, doon siya na tinamaan ng hangin.
His son had got the bends and now has to use crutches. But this isn't the only time that dangers of compressor diving have hit Johnning's family.
Kaya yung anak kong isa, na kuwan din yun sa compressor, ayaw na niya tanggapin na nabalda siya. Gusto talaga niya na gumaling siya. Nung matagal ko na kung saan-saan ko siya dalahin, kumo sa paghihirap nga ng tao, wala akong makakuha ng pera. Nung matagal na malapit na siya 1 taon na nabalda, ginawa siguro niya parang nagulo na pag-iisip niya, nagtali na lang siya ng lubid para siya mamatay.
I'm very sorry about that.
Nakikiramay din daw po.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's really sad, isn't it?
Yes.
Having spent a week living and working with the compressor divers, Simon and Roger have become very close to the fishermen. To fully understand their way of life, Simon needed to experience firsthand what it's like to be a compressor diver. So Johnning is keen to take him on a shallow dive.
Seeing the boys do it, they've made it look easy, but we've had several guys that have gone down with symptoms of the bends. I've got to admit, I'm feeling a little bit apprehensive actually.
Simon has scuba dived for 16 years and has logged over 3,000 dives, but this is diving at its most basic.
That's bad. For the first minute, I gotta say, I was a little bit petrified actually. This is a violent thing. It's just punching air down your throat. It's quite mad. It took me a minute to kind of get myself under control, and then once you got the hang of it, and once you believed in it and trusted it, then you could swim off. There's a couple of times when I lost it though. I was flailing around everywhere, trying to find it again and get it back in, but Johnny was keeping a good eye on me, and the rest of the guys were as well. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want to do that for a whole sort of fish catching session, that's for sure.
A strong camaraderie between the divers has been forged. The film crew have captured a dramatic sequence, and the fishermen head home happy with a boatload of fish to sell.
Maganda naman yung hanap buhay katulad ng dagat, lalo na kung magkaisa ang pagsasama ng tao. Lalong maganda, lalo katulad nitong pala hanap buhay, makahuli ng marami, tuwan-tuwa na yung mga tao.
Johnning and everyone on board have finished another Pa-aling fishing trip, and all can return safe and sound to their families.
Explore exclusive clips and more incredible stories from the series at bbc.co.uk/humanplanet. And hear music from the places featured on BBC Radio 3 now with Andy Kershaw and Music Planet. But it's comedy next here tonight. Come fly with me.